We are going to be testing the inking pens to see how they work with the clipping mask, in particular, how they work when you need to fill in a color, because in order to do clipping mask, you need to be able to fill in a color. So getting this right is very important. So we're first going to test the Mercury pen. There it is, it's under the inking ones. And we'll choose a color that's kind of a brighter color so that we can be able to see it throughout all of this. We have to make sure we add a layer because I already set this up. Okay, here's the Mercury. See, it wasn't quite round, so let's try it again. See how Procreate sort of clips into a circle or whatever shape you need. That one worked well. Let's try it again. It worked again. So let's try now for the Inca. This has worked. And here it's worked again. So both these pens are actually pretty good pencils to use, the inking pens. So let's try this one, Pen Dini. See how this one is. That one does not work. You can kind of see where it's a little bit broken. Whenever you have, these pencils or pens and they're kind of a bit broken, they don't tend to work very well. Let's try the tinderbox. This is why it's kind of important to be able to do this testing so that we can see. That one worked. And this one worked too. So the tinderbox works for both of them. Okay, so now we'll go and we'll check another one. See how it works. The syrup one. Okay, make sure we have the right color. That one worked. See if it works again. And that works. Talaisine. Now this is kind of a funny one that, even though it works, I'm not sure, unless you want this type of effect, you may not want to use it, but if you want this type of effect, this is a great, pencil to know about. But it's certainly not going to give you a clear line. The next one is a fine tip. And this is really quite, you can see I've got it way up on a, we'll change the color now. The color's changed for some reason. So we'll try it again. So you can see it's a very thin line, but it fills in very nicely. We'll try it again a second time just to make sure. And that one worked. Next we'll go to the technical pen. See if that fills in. No, it did not. So you can see that, even though the fine tip and the technical pen seem about the same, one works and the other doesn't work. So, this can make all the difference between how frustrated you're going to be when you're doing this clipping mask. And believe me, many times I've chosen the wrong pen or pencil and it's been very frustrating. So we have to make sure we're working on a layer. Next, we're going to try the gel pen. And this one's kind of does look really like a gel pen. And it works if you want to be able to have that little bit of gel, if you need that gel in it for the clipping mask. I'm not sure why you would want to have that little sort of bubble, but maybe for some reason you might want to have it. The ink bleed. So you can see it looks like it's bleeding, and that works. And again, you're not going to get a very clear straight line on this, but if that's what you need, this pen might work just fine for you. Okay, so we're going to try the studio pen now. See how this one works. You can see that's kind of a light one. The opacity is sort of down on that one. We'll try it again. See how that works, okay? And this one I'm gonna do the third time because I really changed the opacity so you can see how much darker it is now, and it works. So sometimes if you play with the opacity and the size, you can get a certain pen to work. But the studio pen, there are some other options out there if you're just using for clipping masks, like the fine tip is really a great one. The next one is a dry ink, and that looks pretty solid. So it looks like that will probably work well. Again, you're getting a thicker a bit of a thicker line on this, but you can also change it to be a thinner line if you want. So we have one less one, Gazinski. See how this one works. Need to add another layer on top of this, because again, you need to work on layers here. That one works, and that works, but it's not really quite an even amount, but it does work. And a marker, which is our last one. So if you watch my video, you see the marker works too. If you watch my video about the sketch pens, you would see that a lot more of the inking ones worked better than the sketch pens. So here's what I'd recommend. The Mercury and the Inca worked great. The Tinderbox worked really good, which you could use. The syrup and the Tylissin if you wanted to have that kind of look on it. The fine tip is one of my favorites. I use the fine tip a lot. I find it a really great pen. The gel pen if you need that kind of gel or the ink bleed. Studio pen maybe you could play around with, and the dry ink should be okay. And the Gazinski and the marker. My main choice would be the fine tip on all of this. This video has been brought to you by Anita at Mindoro. If you've enjoyed this video, please press subscribe. We have a lot of other great videos about Procreate and how to use Procreate and Procreate made easy for design. Please check out our webpage at mindoro.com or some of our social media. We have a lot of other blogs and other information all about Procreate and other things about creating, designing, and developing great home decor products. We'd love to hear from you if you have any home decor products that you need to have manufactured. Please feel free to contact us anytime. Thank you so much for listening.